Welcome back to the College Football Week 12 betting locks and predictions, and let's get right into it with a recap of last week where we went 500, lost zero point 0.9 units from the juice there, so that brings us to plus 6.9 units on the season. We will try and bounce back and have a green week this week, so let's get right into it with the recap. We had Tulane +4 against Memphis, and Tulane is able to win that one, send Memphis down to 2 losses there. Then Georgia against Mississippi State. Mississippi State nowhere near Georgia in this game. Georgia wins by a boatload, and Mississippi State was never able to keep up the entire game. I knew that it would happen at some point where this Mississippi State team is just outmatched, and it was certainly that spot right there. BYU Texas Tech, we predicted a Texas Tech win. Should have bet on them because they just smashed BYU in that spot in Lubbock. Big game day spot, and they are able to live up to the expectations there. We thought Texas A&M would win at Missouri. They do with flying colors there. Iowa against Oregon, we had Iowa +6 in the hook there. They are able to stay within the number. Oregon wins on a late field goal in that one, but Iowa put up some fight. It was a defensive game, a little bit of run attack, nasty weather. Iowa stays within the number. Oregon gets the win there. UConn easily stays within the 10 against Duke in that one. Second page, Wake Forest, we had them +7. They end up winning outright against Virginia, who has one loss in ACC now, even though they've lost 2 games in the conference in theory. LSU against Bama, we had LSU +10 in the hook, got a little fancy here, and they were just not able to stay clean there. A little bit of a brutal final score in that one. Bama, it's a little ugly for them. The offense is not a Lamborghini, any of those nice cars, the way you want to put it. It's a little ugly out there, but they do get it done at home and cover in that one as well. Navy against Notre Dame, nowhere near. I need some points out of Navy in the second half for them to cover. They were in it for a quarter and a half where it looked really like it could be a competitive game, but then Navy just sold in the second half. That one doesn't go our way. Boston College was never close enough to SMU in that one. That one falls over for us. Sam Houston actually wins outright as 21-point dogs against Oregon State in Corvallis. UCLA not able to stay close with Nebraska. They end up losing outright. We took them -2 in the hook. That one falls. Kentucky, huge win against Florida. Despicable offensive performance. The turnovers from Florida were crazy. So many turnovers. 4th down conversions missed, and Kentucky just runs away with that one there. Again, we knew that the bottom might not be there for Florida, and we haven't really seen it so far. Auburn, Vandy, we do actually cover here with the hook. It was kind of a brutal one. The only way we could have not covered once it went to overtime was, of course, the 2-point conversions. We didn't get that far. Brutal for Auburn to lose that game, but they were battling. Vandy ends up winning, keeps their playoff hopes alive there. Florida State, Clemson, we took Florida State +2 in the hook. They do not stay close, and Norvell might be on the electric chair here in terms of his job there. Looks like the seat is scalding hot, and he might be fired in the next few weeks. San Diego State goes out and loses in Hawaii in big fashion. Very surprising result to me there. We took San Jose State -5 in the hook against Air Force, unable to cover that one. Kansas +6 against Arizona. They do cover in that football game there. Penn State against Indiana, we took Penn State +14 in the hook in that one. They stay close, almost get the win, but don't quite pull it out. Maryland loses to Rutgers. We had them +2, unable to stay within the number there. FIU, we had money line against Middle Tennessee. They do win that one. Bowling Green, unable to stay within the 2.5 against Eastern Michigan, and UTEP, unable to stay within the +1 against Jacksonville State in Conference USA action there. Now, on to the Week 12 betting locks. We start with a little Thursday game, Troy at Old Dominion. I favorite Old Dominion throughout the season. I like what they've got here. I like the offensive structure, and I really like the physicality that their defense plays with. I like them to beat Troy in that one there in the Sun Belt. Then Friday night, we've got Clemson, Louisville. Not exactly a close game here, but the spread's a little closer than you'd think. Clemson, again, you have the talent rating, so you never know. If you can get a good night out of them, they could probably beat Louisville on the road there. Then Minnesota at Oregon. This spread is just out of proportion in the mid-20s. I don't think it'll be particularly close, and the spread agrees with me. I like Oregon to win, but maybe keep an eye on it. Minnesota's not half bad when they play up, which they have done multiple times this season. Remember, they did beat Nebraska, but I don't think they have what it takes to hang with Oregon here. Then We'll go Pitt against Notre Dame. I like Pitt here. I think they're a little underrated still, and I like them plus 10 in the hook. Stay within possession and a half there. Notre Dame obviously has been blowing out these opponents. This is kind of their last big game day spot at Pitt. I like Pitt to stay within the number. I think they can tamp down Notre Dame and take advantage of a Notre Dame defense that's looked a lot better in recent weeks, but I think Pitt has what it takes to keep it close. Michigan Northwestern, I like Northwestern to stay within the 10 in the hook. Again, an underappreciated Northwestern team. They're battled with USC, got a little unlucky. We love these bounce back spots, especially at home against the Michigan offense that has not been able to pull away. I like Northwestern to stay within the 10 in the hook there. And then in the Big 12, we'll take Cincinnati to keep it close and actually win against Arizona in a competitive one there. Remember, Cincinnati only has the one conference loss, so they're sniffing around that Big 12 championship picture. Don't think they'll get there at this point, but we'll have to see what happens. I like them to win this week. Keep those hopes alive. Texas at Georgia. Let's take Texas plus 6 in the hook. Obviously, you'd like the 7. I don't think we'll ever get it this week. I think this number's going down. Texas, I think, has turned a corner here. You could argue the same with Georgia after that blowout win at Mississippi State, but I think that Texas has turned a corner. Their offense can be a lot better here, and I like this Georgia environment to be a little bit overrated, I'll be honest. And I think that Texas can pull out an early lead, similar to that Ole Miss game against Georgia. But I think that the defense is a little better here. Again, the secondary is always something to watch out for, but I don't think that Stockton and Georgia can take advantage. I like Texas to stay within the 6 in the hook, and I even like them to pull off a slight upset here and win this one. Obviously, not a huge look-ahead spot. Texas does have A&M down the road in the season, but this is just a huge game in Athens. I like Texas to keep it close, maybe even win outright in that one. Then TCU, BYU, we think BYU is still a little overrated. They have a lot more room to fall. Got beat up against Texas Tech. It was a physical game. I don't think they're done falling here, even returning back home. TCU's feisty. I like TCU to keep it within the 5 in the hook, maybe even win outright. I've said it a lot this season. BYU was the nice win against Utah. Went against me for that one. I will continue to bet against them until they prove otherwise. I think they're a little overrated just due to some of these blowouts. I think they've gotten a little lucky. I like them to lose 2 in a row after that physical game in Lubbock there. Boise State at San Diego State. We like the Aztecs to bounce back, but honestly, haven't had a great read on the San Diego State team thus far this season. I'll concede that one. Memphis against East Carolina. We like Memphis to win that one, but I will note that East Carolina is favored. We've seen some of these American trap games happen, and I think this could be another one. Memphis, again, on the bounce back, though. I like them to win that one in Carolina there. Then Oklahoma, Alabama, kind of similar logic to the Texas-Georgia game. We'll take Bama in the points. We think Mateer is fully healthy here, and Bama has won a lot of these one-score games. I think they do it again. Bama by a touchdown here. I think Oklahoma tucks within the number. We really like this 7 in the hook number. We think Oklahoma's offense can take advantage of a Alabama defense that's gotten a lot better on the fronts, but the Alabama run game not developing. Their offense is not that great. I think this game stays low scoring, and Oklahoma's able to stay within a touchdown even on the road there. Then South Florida against Navy. We like the Bulls in this one. Navy obviously has dropped 2 in a row here, but I don't like it to stop now. South Florida, common opponent obviously in North Texas. South Florida kind of ran over them. I like South Florida to win this one. I think that they are the cream of the crop of the American, and I expect them to get it done here. Virginia Duke, this is kind of an interesting game because you do have this Duke team that has the 4 losses, but only 1 loss in ACC play. They are the second favorite to win the whole ACC. Georgia Tech is number 1. One scenario that I haven't seen other people point out is the fact that if Duke wins the ACC, it's possible that they get 0 teams. 0. Because you think about a 4-loss Duke, they'll be 9-4 at that point. But then you've got a James Madison sniffing around. One of these American teams are very good. Maybe you even have one of the Mountain West teams get ranked. I just have a hard time seeing Duke being, below 19 in the AP poll in that scenario. And in that case, I think the ACC could get left out. A lot to happen still. I'll take Duke to win because they are favored here. I think they have the better roster. Virginia's a little bit fraudulent. I'd like to see them a little lower in the rankings, to be quite frank. Uh, they just don't really have that great win. I like Duke to win this one, especially at home there. Iowa USC, this one could be a fist fight. I like where USC's offense has gone recently. They're developing both the run and the pass game. A nice receiver core for Southern Cal there. And Iowa just played a very physical, emotional game against Oregon, lost, and now has to go on the road. I don't like the spot. I like USC to win in this one. Of course, the interesting matchup will be Iowa's terrible offense against USC's pretty bad defense. Maybe you could call Iowa's offense just mediocre this year. It is a little better. They can run the ball a little bit. That will be interesting to watch. We'll see whether this one shakes out and is high scoring. I think that USC wins in the 40s with a score in the mid 30s in that one there. Then we've got Coastal against Georgia Southern. We like Coastal +2 in the hook, just a numbers play there that we are spitting out there. And then final page, Arkansas against LSU. I don't think LSU can muster any offense here. I think Arkansas has a good chance to win this one outright. I like them to bounce back and win this one, get their first win in SEC play. No bowl for Arkansas, so they've just got to take the rest of these games and step up a bit. LSU, it just doesn't look great for them. I like Arkansas to score enough to win on this LSU team. Obviously, Arkansas's defense isn't anything to write home about, but I think that they can stop LSU for just long enough there. Washington -16 in the hook. You just blindly take them after the Wisconsin game where there was no offense to speak of. It was a road spot. You would think Washington wouldn't be fazed by the rain there, but they clearly were. But I think Washington's a lot better than Purdue. That was maybe their worst performance of the year and probably will be for the rest of the year. I like Washington -16 in the hook to bounce back in a big way there at home. And then Air Force, brutal travel spot after coming to the West Coast. Now get to fly back to Colorado during the week and then over to UConn. Not really sure why this is a game this late in the season, but I like Air Force to stick within the 8 in the hook there. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment your predictions below.